Hi, I'm Ed Fulbright, CPA, CGMA, PFS of Fulbright Financial Consulting, PA. We would like to welcome you to our educational briefing.
Last week's release of the annual 10-year U.S. Budget and Economic Outlook by the Congressional Budget Office, a nonpartisan government research agency, is probably not your idea of an exciting read. But government debt poses a material risk to the growth of your portfolio and retirement income. So, here are 5 observations adding context for understanding the key findings of the CBO's 176-page report about the risk Uncle Sam poses to U.S. investors and retirement income portfolios. The CBO's latest long-term forecast for the federal debt through 2049 is shown in this scary chart. The government spends more than it takes in tax revenues and keeps borrowing more every year. Accelerating debt eventually would be unsustainable, a financial disaster, and it is where we are headed. We're at the beginning of this path to financial ruin. But keep in mind, this is the outcome only if nothing is done about the government debt bubble forming in the years ahead. Unlike humans, Uncle Sam's lifespan is infinite, so saddling the next generation with some debt is financially wise. The federal budget deficit problem is a political football. Politicians and the media bemoan running annual budget deficits. Despite the political rhetoric and widespread belief that the federal budget must be eliminated, running a deficit is actually financially wise, and optimizing the amount of debt is a realistic goal. Although it is true that you would never want to make your family responsible for paying off your debts after you die, Uncle Sam's infinite lifespan belies the analogy with passing a debt on to your children. It's wise to plan to leverage the government's creditworthiness and the special status of the U.S. as the world's economic leader. Balancing the federal budget may be a popular political football, but it's a terrible long-term fiscal policy. Contrary to conventional wisdom, government debt is good, and balancing the budget would be a really bad idea. Running an annual budget deficit is good for the next generation, as long as U.S. debt payments are not on a long-term trajectory to become unsustainable. Planning for a prudent amount of debt is optimal for the long term. The scary soaring debt is not inevitable. In fact, it's not even hard to avoid. Independent economist Fritz Meyer, whose research we license to share with you, says the optimal annual federal spending deficit would be 2.9%. The scary soaring debt projection rising from 3.8 in 2018 to 4.4 in 2029 can be averted by lowering the annual deficit to 2.9%. which is not so difficult a goal to accomplish with a combination of spending discipline and tax increases. Number 4. The U.S. is a low-tax nation. While this contradicts the outrage against taxes constantly in the media, the U.S., as always, was recently ranked as one of the lowest taxed nations among 34 of the world's major economies. Other economies with tax burdens as low as the U.S. are tiny by comparison. The long-term debt of the U.S. is not a financial problem, but a political one. Compared to Germany and France, U.S. tax revenue as a percentage of gross domestic product was much lower. With much stronger growth prospects than Germany or France, slightly increasing tax revenue in the U.S. would not materially change this picture, underscoring that solving the long-term federal debt issue is not a financial problem, but rather a political one.
Thank you for listening. Please contact us with any questions, and also contact us if you're interested in our complimentary second opinion on your investments or to set up a meeting regarding your wealth. Don't hesitate to share this video with people who might benefit from our work. Thank you again, and have a great day.